I'm going to take the cue from Shelley and just share with you a little about a tool that you could do. You heard Lisa say it's about the Next9 platform, the digital X-ray. Essentially, Next9 is a digital platform that helps SMEs work on how they're going to build their business. And it's a good tool for coaches in that it helps the coach who doesn't necessarily have a diagnostic tool. Basically gives you a very good toolkit. It's a world-class toolkit to diagnose where to go and work, helps you get straight into business with your clients. And of course, what we're hoping to do with this tool is build an ecosystem of coaches, of businesses that are scaling, and also a bunch of other stakeholders as well. We're hoping that this thing ultimately will become a tool that people like fund managers and other developers will actually use as well. So essentially a tool, a digital interactive tool for helping you work out where to work on your business and how to go about doing that. So if you're a coach, and I'm a business coach, and I've been doing this for 5 years now, essentially you've got a bunch of clients that probably are battling to grow their business. It's not clear to them why their business isn't scaling, and they don't know what to go and do about it, and they don't have the time to sit and work out properly how to go about doing that, and quite often they don't have the money either. So Next9 has actually been designed to solve those problems for them, and particularly for the coach who doesn't have a diagnostic tool like this. So you've got a bunch of clients with those problems I described. You as a coach, talk earlier on, you don't want to spend your time doing anything other than the work that you're good at. You want to be doing the coaching. So this tool will actually help you zoom straight in on where you need to go and focus, where you need to go and add value, and it's going to save you time and money as well. So essentially, as I said, this tool can actually help you solve those problems. I've touched on a host of those elements already, so I'm not going to spend too much time. So I've got my marching orders from Lisa there. But essentially, one of the things that a coach wants to do is you want to be focused on your revenue. So this tool can actually help you grow your business while you're busy doing your coaching. And how does that happen? Essentially, you're going to be part of an ecosystem. And you're focused on a particular set of skills that you're very good at, your sweet spot, and you're solving problems in that particular space. Alistair over there, for example, focuses on processes and systems. And he maybe doesn't focus on culture. But Jason in the back there is a culture specialist. So being part of an ecosystem, you can use the tool to do the diagnosis, and you might discover that you need help from somebody else to solve the real problems of your client. You heard what Shelley said. It's actually about caring, and it's actually about making a difference with the client at the end of the day. So it might be that you are only part of the solution, and being part of an ecosystem will then allow you to solve that problem properly. And I've found this many times where I've zoomed in on what I'm good at, and now the need when I work with a client is I need a specialist. For example, I need someone to come in and build a business model. Now I can build a basic business model, but I know some financial people who do this for a living, and they're very, very good at it. So we draw them in. So that's ultimately where we're going, an ecosystem that helps solve these problems for these businesses, allows them to grow, allows them to create jobs, build the economy. That's ultimately what this thing is about. So this X-ray, technically, what is it about? If you're scaling a business, there are 12 disciplines you've got to go and nail. On the screen there you can see 8 business disciplines around the outside, 4 on the inside, the personal disciplines. The X-ray focuses on the 8 on the outside. Essentially strategy, execution, building a team, building the environment that is a support base for you, board, advisory board, mentors, coaches. Where do you go to find the stuff that you don't know? Building sales, building operations, the finance side of things, and then finally the investability or capital side of things. You've got to nail all of those if you're going to scale your business. And if you've got weak links in any of those areas, it's going to show up. Most notably, usually it's strategy. Very often when we work with businesses, we discover we haven't quite got our strategy tidy. So we start from a place where we're fuzzy, and then we go on a journey, and maybe we're going northeast when we should actually be going north. And an X-ray will help you work out where those gaps are, so you start focusing on the right things at the right time. That's in essence what this thing is about. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go and show you the X-ray. Right back, I'm here at the video, let me show you this quick video anyway.
Poor cash flow, difficulty raising capital, challenged in attracting and retaining talent. If you face one or more of these issues, your business is probably not scaling either. Next 9 can help you identify why your business isn't growing and what to do about it fast. X-ray, our user-friendly online assessment tool, quickly diagnoses your most important growth constraints across 8 business disciplines of successful scale-ups. Our proprietary methodology and intelligent algorithms quickly and accurately assess your business scalability and provide practical recommendations to accelerate your business growth. Our algorithms and divergence analyses are unique amongst diagnostic tools, enabling the Next 9 X-ray to be both affordable and incredibly accurate. Next 9 also provides access to our Academy section to equip you with the resources that you need to scale your business and to put the top recommendations into action. These resources include courses or bootcamps on key focus areas for your business, as well as curated content housed in the resources section. To experience our X-ray and Academy features, please go to the Next 9 website and request demo access to our platform.
Okay, so this is what the X-ray dashboard actually looks like. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to navigate you through it so you can actually just see what's there, and I'll just share with you how you actually use it. In essence, when you kick off an X-ray, we send a link to the CEO or a focal point in the business, and that person then does the first part of the X-ray. You get asked a few questions about your business. We work out the complexity of your business, and as a result of that, we can work out basically where this line should be over here. In other words, the required score for each of those disciplines shows up as a dotted line on this dashboard over here. Then we ask you some generic questions that'll give us a feel for, or give us an understanding of your gut feel for where you are on the different disciplines. And that's the purple shaded area over there. And usually you're not quite as good as you think you are. So the next part is quite in-depth questions. Takes about 2 hours to complete this X-ray. So it goes into a lot of depth, goes into discipline level, sub-discipline level, and then even into the practices that underlie those. And there are complicated algorithms that basically use the feedback from you to diagnose where the gap actually is on a continuum. What's the best practice is spread out over a continuum. You know, at the beginning of the journey, it might be very simple, and a really complex business, the practice in that area is obviously at a higher level. So we basically work out where you are on that continuum and where you should be, and then an algorithm is used to optimize where you should go and focus first. So the CEO then says, okay, here are the people who should take the X-ray, puts the names and email addresses into the survey, link gets sent to each of those people, everyone does it. Afterwards, either it comes back to the coach if there's a coach involved, or the CEO himself ultimately might be able to play the role of coach as well. You can then do a review. There's a section inside here that allows you to have a look at team divergence. I'm just going to show you this for a second. You can see over here. So we can see over here, Clive, the score over here was 2.3 versus a very low score for strategy from the others. And so we can actually go to the Edit X-ray Respondents tab, and we can go and take out Clive's score for strategy. So basically we can say that's an outlier. We don't want it to distort the survey, so we take it out. Generally there's not many of those that you need to do, but the capability is there. So you've done that, and now you come back and you have a look at the X-ray, and you can see over here, look over here, strategy is low, so it looks to me like it's only capital where we meet the required score. So this business has a business maturity index of 36. That is front-end growth kind of material, so there's obviously a fair bit of work for them to do. Question is, where should they actually start? And that business maturity index, typically, we've done more than 200 of these already, and the digital version is reasonably new, but the manual version has been around for 7-8 years already. And typically we see around about 20 for businesses that are only just starting to scale, or maybe probably actually in the late stages of startup, through to about 66 is about as high as I've seen for businesses still in the scale-up phase, but pretty jacked. So that's sort of the range that we typically see. So now you can use the X-ray to go and have a look at your results. So let's say, for example, we want to have a look at strategy. We can dip into strategy and we can see, okay, we're at a score of 4. We need 4. We think we're 4.2, but in actual fact we're not. Gee, why is that? Okay. Straight away, very quickly, you as the coach can dive into this and go to the next layer, and you can actually see over here, okay, it's competitive strategy that's weak, and within competitive strategy it's the defendable advantage that's poor, and down here on the practice level, go and have a look at those two over there, the X factor and harnessing your winning position. And so this straight away says there is where the gaps are, and you can do the same thing with any of the other 7 disciplines as well. So you basically navigate your way through them. So now you know where the gaps actually are. The question is, what are we going to do about it? So now you can go and have a look at the recommendations, and straight away you see there's a coach top 10. Before we get to this point here, the coach will have done a review, and the coach has the ability to do 2 things. Slightly adjust the recommendations. The algorithm works out a set of priorities, but sometimes the coach knows a little more about the business than has been actually highlighted inside the survey. So you can actually then go and say, now hold on a minute. I know this business. I know there's a culture issue lurking under here, and so you can basically elevate that little. So you can tweak the recommendations based on what you know about the business. Or you can just go with the algorithm recommendations. Coach can also put in comments and guides. So for example, over here, in this particular example we're using, there's an inner circle dynamic issue. So clearly that is a high priority item. You can see the little red triangle there. That says if we don't deal with this one, this can turn into a crisis. So that is a priority area to go and have a look at. So what we do then is we go into it, and we see over here, okay. Most of the team says, you know, the dynamics are not great, but we're living with it. And 16% say it's very healthy. So clearly there's an issue over here. At least we don't have the whole team saying it's dysfunctional. By the way, I have come across businesses where it is dysfunctional, and I know it's dysfunctional, and everybody says it's dysfunctional. But sometimes there are differences of opinion about it, and sometimes people see things slightly differently, but depending on where they're sitting in the organization. So then you go and have a look at the recommendations, and there's a recommendation that's laid out here, and the coach has made a comment there about we need to deal with this via a culture process, and perhaps a culture workshop is the right thing to go and do. So for each of these, then you find there is a recommendation and a set of things you can go and do, and you then take these recommendations, and these are the top 10, and what we usually advise is start by focusing on a critical few number of interventions. You don't want to be focusing on lots of them. The X-ray tells you, go and have a look at these. You apply your mind to it together with the business and the leadership in the business. You choose what you're going to focus on. You devise those into your interventions. If there's something coming up here that maybe isn't in your wheelhouse, that's where the ecosystem comes in. You maybe go and find, via the ecosystem, find someone else who can actually actually help you. And then, so now you've got a bunch of recommendations, and by the way, you can go to each of the sections, and you've got the same kind of detail. You've got the layout of where you're good and strong, you've got a score, you see strategy was 0, and you've also got the top 5 recommendations for that particular discipline. So you can go into this in as much detail as you want to, and you can just dive down into the detail. But once you've got the recommendations, so now you might be asking yourself as a coach, so what do we do about it? Where can we get some help as to what you do next, particularly if it's not quite your area of strength? Maybe you're a technical coach and this is about culture. So then you can go across to the academy. And you saw in the video earlier on, there are a collection here of, at the moment, 6, and we're busy building the content. There are 6 boot camps here. These are digital versions of some of our best boot camps at 10xe. And for example, this one here is about Path to Scale. That's the digital equivalent of a 3-day boot camp that teaches you about what you need to know if you're actually going to scale. There's one on strategy, there's another one on execution. There's the culture one over here. So you can dive into the culture one and you can go and have a look at the different sections. This button here before you start is actually an enroll button. You can have a look at what the different sections are. You can say this is applicable for me. You can click the enroll button and you can go and actually work your way through the material. From there you may be able to self-help and work out what you need to do. It's a good place for the coach then to go and get tips on what to do as well. Okay. Just scrolling backwards over here. There are also somewhere between 180 and 200 resources in this academy on a range of different topics. You can search either by category or by topic and find some help that way. And as I said, we're busy working on this content and building the library over time. The intent, by the way, via the ecosystem approach is to link up with others who have expertise and find a way of being a one-stop shop with links to detailed resources in a bunch of different areas. So that is essentially the academy. And so now you've got a really clear understanding of where your biggest gaps lie, business building wise. You've also got a clear understanding around what you might do about it, and you've got some tools as to work out how I'm going to go do about it, how I'm going to go and tackle it. You as the coach can then use that, devise the interventions, work with the business to build that into their strategic planning so they can systematically go about it, and then it turns into a project management exercise where you work with your client and actually make it happen. So that's the X-ray. Okay, and I'm just going to go back to the presentation again. Problem points you to possible solutions, gives you access to some materials on how to go about tackling it. I've told you about the different boot camps there. We are also going to be putting reading lists and nano books in there as well. And probably also other resources like templates, toolkits, the kind of stuff that Shelley was talking about earlier on. Likely what we'll do is we'll take those, make them available via the library there as well. Okay, and as I said, if you need additional support via the ecosystem, then you can actually get in touch with a coach. We think that what we'll end up doing is the recommendations that we make will be linked through to the academy via links. That's a work in process with the developers. And likely what we'll also do on the X-ray is have links to specific coaches who are specialists in different areas. So ultimately, you ought to get business leads coming from the ecosystem. That's going to take a little time. That's probably late this year, more likely early next year that'll start happening. And we're probably going to be doing it manually in the meantime. In fact, we are already. We have a bunch of coaches who've already signed up for it outside of the 10xe world, and we already are referring leads to people. So it's starting to work as an ecosystem, albeit a pretty young one at this stage. So what does it cost? The delicate discussion, and I'm doing it with you face to face, as Shirley recommended. No emails, yeah? So right now, if you're outside South Africa, it's going to cost $799 for the client to sign up for the year. And if you're in South Africa, it's 12,000 Rand. It gets you access to the X-ray for a year. We think a year cycle is a good cycle for scaling and working on your business plan in yearly cycles. Also then redoing the X-ray from scratch. So it seems to work. It seems to us that a 12-month subscription makes good sense. And you then have the access for it. Of course, we expect that you will probably see value from it. You'll be back next year, and we'll be evolving the X-ray as it goes. So next year, you'll be signing up for a new X-ray, probably with a heightened level of capability in the X-ray. As a coach, we'll give you a 15% discount on it. And if you refer another coach to us who goes into trial, because what we basically do is you as the coach sign up for it. I send you a link. You click on the link. You then have a trial period. We let you do the first one with one of your clients for free. And then after that, you go into the paid world. We've got a digital tracking system that shows us how you're using it. We send you an invoice for it, or if you prefer, we'll send it to the client, no matter which way makes good sense for you. If you give us a referral for a coach who goes into trial, we'll give you an extra 5% off it. And also, we know there are some coaches who are going to be using this as the staple diet and base for their business, basically because they don't have a diagnostic. I'm one of those. I do a bunch of work for the Edge Growth Group as my biggest client, but I also have a bunch of my own clients, and I use the X-ray. So it's likely that all of the strategy work I do will be using the X-ray. So over time, if I become a big user of it, there'll be a volume discount that we will give as well. And we're busy working out exactly how that's going to work right now. So watch this space. So that, in essence, is what the X-ray is about. Lisa's going to be sending you all an email with some links in it. And if this is of use to you, if you're a business consultant and this kind of tool would be useful for you, well then click on the link, sign up, try it out. If it works for you, get going with it. If it doesn't, no stress. And bit by bit, we will broaden the ecosystem. Already, we've got about 60 or so coaches in the ecosystem at different stages of exploring the X-ray. So it's starting to get traction already. You can take it from me. It is a world-class product. It's based on really good science, and the logic behind it has taken 8 years to develop to where it is now. So if you particularly are a coach who doesn't have a diagnostic, this could be the answer for you.